I was just thinking a little second ago about well, I had a music. Well, actually, in the shower today, I had thoughts of. Jeez, right? It's crazy how it's all coming along today. Or it's all coming together now. Sorry, I'm just trying to balance on this right now again. But I had thoughts of. So basically, as I was getting out of the shower, I was thinking like, why don't like one of the last shower thoughts I had was why don't I know how to save the music industry yet? Now, obviously, it's a bit dramatic, but then the immediate afterthought was because you're not ready for it. This basically just stems off like this idea that like ideas are presented to the people who are able to do something about it. Essentially, like you have to think like sort of because like along companion with the idea that ideas are not our own. You know, like they come from not us essentially, as like the whole ideas behind unoriginality, nothing's original, la la la. But basically, you know the fact that I wasn't ready for the idea is to say that I'm not in a position to where if I were to have been given such an idea to do anything about it, execution, to do good execution on the idea. The ideas want to be executed, or good ideas want to be executed. I don't know. I just started thinking about bad ideas. I don't know how that works into the whole thing. Really was when I say ideas, I'm mainly thinking of like problem solutions. So innovations essentially. Back to the point. But yeah, basically I was just bugging because I wanted something executable. But anyways, I go out now and I'm on this walk. I have an album conception. Now usually when I have music like ideas, I don't necessarily have myself in mind with them, I suppose. Like when I was initially thinking of this album conception, I wasn't even sure I guess there was a little part of me that was like trying to say like that I would be constructing this, but really it was just I was really mainly thinking about the idea and the power of this type of album, I suppose, that I was conceptualizing in my head. Well, the album was essentially about like living life, observing and sort of taking in nature, and we'll see how close Lad lets me get here, but okay. Well, I've been a way better shot if I was able to, manually focus and all. But the idea was basically taking in sort of thoughts that we have in silence with nature throughout a specific seasonal period. Right now it's spring, and sort of well, that would it's you see what that would bring along the visual aspect, so long as the imagery is coming from the nature that's being consumed. And also it's sort of like you see with this album, it also has to be like a lifestyle album, so you have to like curate your next couple months for it essentially. And then, how do you say, the ethos of the album would just be like whatever it is the nature brings, which generally, well, depending on the season, I suppose, you know. Also its relation to your personal introspection, because there has to be a connection to the personal introspection, because it's like you're the artist, obviously, so you have to like push that out in some sense. Ultimately, I was thinking, anyways, and then there's like the third aspect of, I forgot, but basically, essentially, after that, I mean, I was just kind of thinking like, I don't think an album like that would necessarily make waves in the industry per se, you know, like make numbers, and like, or at least not yet is what I was thinking. What I was truly thinking was, what in the world needs to happen? Because I was thinking at some point, because one of the first thoughts I thought after finishing like the ideation of this album was, okay, this might actually happen, and I should try not to get too excited about this, because what's it called? Because it might be a really long time from now where this happens, you know, like, you know, a different future, you know. Because right now, not in today's landscape, I guess. This is my guess. I mean, it could happen in like maybe a year. Obviously, yeah, just not in today. You know, I guess it's gonna take a couple years, you know. But also I was assuming a long time. But then from that, I was like, okay, what in the world needs to happen for this to occur? And it was like basically just like a spiritual growth that would need to happen, a return to longing with the earth. Because I mean, obviously, a lot of what like big industries are like doing is like totally unaligned with like what anybody would do if they had personal introspection with, you know, the earth and such, you know. So yeah, there's that, I guess. So I guess it would have to be happening on like one of the upticks of it, one of the massive uprises in this spiritual revolution, and like a return to introspection with nature, essentially. Like, it would have to happen during those moments, because the rising of those moments would sort of what's it called? I mean, it would be propagated by this album idea, and also propagate the album. It would be a dual propagation. I don't know, dude. I don't know, but I mean, I'm assuming that'd be the only kind of point I wish it could happen outside of, like, after that point, obviously, because after that point, or maybe that would be the most crucial point for it to happen, and for it to need to happen. Like, if it doesn't happen at that point, then we're screwed, you know. I don't know. But after that point, I mean, there would be, obviously, it's like whenever a genre is created, you know, many follow suit. You know, the other day, Trippie was talking about how he was one of the creators of like the rage genre. He was calling out Kanye for saying that he was one of the creators. But he was like, me, X, Lil Uzi, and another folk made the rage genre. And I'm like, okay, that's it's interesting. I guess it did arise in that time. But yeah, and this is another thing that would have to arise in a time, you know, like that whole time with the rage era, or even before, you know, when X was alive, you know, that was a generational push, you know, if you will. Yeah. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to think, like, how do we make something like that happen? You know, I mean, I really do miss the massiveness of the X era, I suppose, and like, and the risingness of it, I suppose. You know, obviously something like that can't rise again because it wasn't like you know, it was for the time. You know, I'm excited for something that's gonna be of the time. Oh man, and I really love the time that we're in, so it's gonna be super exciting, man. Alright, now I'm gonna just start talking about exciting stuff, so I should probably just go. And the timer's running out. I have like 30 more seconds left to storage. Let's go. Later, gang. Have a good day. Love you.